Today, we're here to announce changes that will make sure that people living with addiction in BC receive better, safer care with higher quality standards as they embark on their own personal journeys toward healing, their own pathways to hope. These new regulations will increase the province's ability to proactively monitor, inspect, and take quick action when concerns are raised about specific supportive recovery homes, because anyone who turns to a supportive recovery home has the right to know that they will be cared for by staff who've received appropriate training in an environment that does have safety and quality standards.
Although I am the operations manager here, more importantly than that, I'm a former client. I was one of the men that they talk about that came from living by a tree and ended up at a door with no means to pay for anything. And the government was there to help.
So when these changes come into effect on December the 1st, the province will be able to take immediate action when problems arise without having to wait a full month and without having to provide a written notice. This means that people living with addictions and their families can be more confident that the services they access will have quality standards. And it means that people living with addiction will be able to know that they can count on consistent standards across the province.
It's a long road. It's not an overnight fix. Treating the addict, not just medicating the addiction. And thank God Trilogy's doors were open when I got here. It's going to be a breath of fresh air. There's a lot of dynamics that go on. There's 11 men that came here in the same state as the 30 that are with us today, and they're now out in society holding their own with a year or more of sobriety. There's another 6 within the society that are ready to start taking that next step. And it's an amazing feeling to be part of something like that.
Holding the press conference here at Trilogy House 1 is another strong statement by this government that people seeking solutions for their addiction in support of recovery facilities are not forgotten, are not invisible, and you matter. I am also very pleased to know that grants will be available to help pay for training of the much-needed increase to the regulatory requirements. I am gratified that the government has recognized the value of recovery services in the continuum of care for those struggling with addiction. In every community in this province, families, organizations, and operators are struggling with increased demand with fewer and fewer resources. These increases announced today begin to lessen the financial burden for operators. I also believe the announcements this week are an essential component to realizing the improvements for addiction services, changing the desperation of addiction to hope and healing.